It took me a long time to get 1,000 subscribers. Over 6 years of work. Thanks for that, by the way. Really appreciate you guys subscribing and checking out the channel. But for now, I worry that I may lose many of you with this next statement. I like Fortnite. Despite all the memes and the casualness, I can't deny that this game is just fun to play. It's a title that I've ducked in and out of a few times since its inception. I was there in the early days, as the game really took off during Chapter 1, Season 3 through 7. I came back later to appraise the hype for Chapter 2, and after a few forays here and there, I'm officially playing the title again on the regular. Will this last? No. But I can't deny that there is something about this behemoth of a title that continuously lures me back in. And I'm not alone on that. Fortnite continues to be massively popular, trucking ahead through the gaming world, undeterred by competition and new releases. It upholds a strong everyday player basis while luring back returning players and inviting new ones each and every day. Between 250 and 300 million players log on each month, a number Fortnite has been hitting consistently for over 3 years now. It's honestly astounding. It just keeps on going, unwavering and unflinching in its domination of the genre. Of course, you don't need me to tell you how popular one of the most profitable and recognizable games of all time is. You may love the game, you may hate the game, you may not even have an opinion on it. But regardless of your disposition towards Epic's cash cow and your familiarity with the gaming world, you know the weight that Fortnite carries. Yet, somehow, a serious assessment of the title is absent from YouTube. There's videos claiming to be critiques of the title, videos from 5 years ago reviewing the initial release, and videos updating you on how the game has changed within each of the last few years. All of them are outdated, but there's a way around this. At least I think so, and that's what this project is all about. Today, I want to discuss Fortnite's monumental and maintained growth by examining it under a microscope, isolating what makes it successful while acknowledging the cost that comes with it. Let's go beyond the basic mechanics and structure and instead discuss the impactful implementations and ideologies that have allowed this game to endure so strongly and so immensely. So join me as I take a serious look at Fortnite Battle Royale. When I set out to do this project during Chapter 3 Season 4 of Fortnite, I knew I needed to test my long-running theories on the game. Through hopping in and out of the experience through the years, certain patterns have become apparent. After spending time thinking more critically about these points, I knew the first step was to simply revisit the game. Duh, but I went in with the mindset of testing these patterns. What were these patterns, you ask? Well, that will come in due time. First, it was important to establish the basics, the elements that Fortnite does extremely well, but also ones that many competitors have nailed, such as Apex Legends. Confirming that these standard yet well-executed procedures were still in place was the first step in analyzing this game. So that's what I set out to do. I had been playing a few matches here and there with my brother, duos on zero build mode, but now it was time to return to the real deal, solo mode with building. So I queued up my first solo match in quite a while. I decided to land at a location I hadn't before, Chrome Jam Junction. During that desperate early flail to find a weapon, any weapon, that defines the beginning of every match, I found some early competition. I quickly dispatched some other characters, most likely bots, which felt good regardless of the fact that they're brain dead. A kill is a kill after all. It floods the dopamine receptors all the same. After acquiring full health and shield and finding a decent loadout with an AR, shotgun, and explosives, I set out. I encountered another player who got a few shots on me before his onslaught was interrupted by a wolf. This gave me a brief respite and a chance to gain the upper hand. I reapproached my target only to find he was fighting someone else now. A lucky rocket shot took out one competitor while the other managed to escape via a nearby truck. I chased him towards Grim Gables and I upgraded my rocket launcher to a golden version. I was feeling pretty tough now, but that good feeling was short-lived as I was ambushed by a Spider-Gwen. A well-placed blast of goo from my goo gun disposed of her and I felt lucky to be alive. I doubled up on rocket launchers and set out to find more shield. I found some underground and quickly pushed upwards as now there were only a handful of players left. The high ground always serves well in Fortnite, and I used my many materials to build a few metal forts to keep me safe. I allowed the remaining players to duke it out, hoping to be one of the final two before making a push for victory. This backfired though as someone got on top of me, firing a rocket down into my base. I jumped out just in time and ended him with a double blast of rockets of my own. It was an exhilarating turnaround, and I couldn't believe I had survived. I grabbed some cover and healed up as best I could. As luck would have it, while I was in the heat of battle, the other players took each other out for me, and it was down to just 2. My heart was racing. Could I win my very first solo match in over a year? I had the high ground and everything felt in my favor, except that pesky shield situation. I stayed overhead and managed to track down my opponent in a nearby house. I patrolled from the roof, listening for every minute sound, hoping to track him and kill him with a well-placed rocket shot. But he escaped. The storm circle started to move. I panicked. I started spam building and shooting off rockets blindly at nothing like a damn fool. In the fray, I actually managed to build a structure with a slight height advantage over my opponent. I peeked around a corner and I saw him. This was it. Do or die. I shot off a rocket. Missed. He began pelting my wooden structure with bullets, forcing a retreat alongside a moving storm. I came around the corner and I saw him. I built a few wooden structures, which he quickly beamed down. As I leapt from the crumbling platforms, I launched back-to-back rockets, obliterating his health bar and starting that slow-motion screen, rewarding myself with the coveted Victory Royale. Euphoria! I had done it! My first solo match in over a year, and I won! I knew at this moment I'd be playing Fortnite for quite a while. Did I absolutely need to take the time to talk about my first solo match? Probably not. But the emotional roller coaster it brought me on, from moments of empowerment, to desperation, to shock, and to euphoria, it felt incredible. These are feelings that any single match of Fortnite can spur up. Anything is possible, because so much has been jammed into the map, week in and week out. And it creates the first major thing that Fortnite gets right at its basic level, an emotional and dynamic gameplay loop that gets you in that one more match mindset. At its core, this is why Fortnite works so well. The promised potential of emotion any single match can bring you. It offsets early losses while intrinsically rewarding top finishes. Now, let's look at the elements that help Fortnite capture this feeling consistently. One of the most important elements takes place before you even play the game. The fact that it's free and available on practically any device you have, mobile, console, or PC. The free-to-play tag is often scoffed at by gamers, and for good reason. But when you do things right, it can lure in massive amounts of players given the zero cost to entry. It's almost like a snowball effect, especially when cooperative play is an option to consider. To put it simply, so many people would be unwilling to give the game a try if there was a price barrier. By eliminating that, anyone at any time can check the game out with zero risk or investment. People love experiences, and in a world where things are getting progressively more expensive, having one of those moments for free just feels nice. So now that the gates are open and players are flooding through, what next? Well, you have to give them an experience that's worth a damn. Highlighting my first match just a moment ago showed how Fortnite does just that. So many different variables intermingle in any given match, and the result is that you can't predict what each match will bring. What weapons will you find? When will you run into people? How far away will the next storm circle be? Will you win? These are just 4 of many basic questions that play out on a universal level across any match, from the game's inception to now, and more has been layered on as the game has continued to grow and evolve. Should I carry mini shields or big pots? Should I carry a spike trap or a launch pad? Is a rocket launcher better than a sniper? Should I use a vehicle? Etc. Regardless of the nature of these questions, or which you ask yourself in any given match, they all highlight one basic component that all successful battle royales take advantage of: randomness. I've talked about this in some episodes of Psychology of Gaming, but Fortnite and other games in the genre succeed so much because they take advantage of variable ratio schedules. This is a psychological term relating to how behavior is rewarded or punished, and therefore reinforced or not reinforced, respectively. There's 4 different types of reward schedules, but for the purposes of this video, we only need to understand variable ratio schedules. Essentially, in a variable ratio schedule, behavior is rewarded at random intervals, which can lead to the beginning of an addictive behavior. The human brain excels at finding patterns, but when we encounter unpredictable randomness, we still tend to think we can make accurate predictions. We overemphasize our own ability to the point that we are denying reality. For example, in a casino, you might see this play out at a slot machine. If a machine's been running cold for a while, we get this feeling that it's gotta get hot soon. The numbers have to swing that way eventually. There is no real guarantee of that, but we convince ourselves it's true and we keep playing until all our money is gone. Another example is just a simple coin flip. If you flip a coin 5 times and the first 4 times it comes up tails, you might think you're more likely to get heads on that last one, because what are the odds you get tails 5 in a row? But the truth is, those first 4 flips have no impact on that 5th flip. It's still a 50-50 random shot. And in these kind of situations, it's often hard to control ourselves and our brains, and that can lead to addictive behavioral patterns. We think we have control, but we really don't. Now, Fortnite most likely isn't going to ruin your life in the same way a casino can, but the game utilizes many of the same strategies to keep you playing. This is perhaps best seen in how the storm circle moves and how chests work in the game. After landing, a storm circle will begin to form shortly after, but when you're making the decision to land, you can never be sure of where it will go. I notice many players often accept the randomness of the first circle, but I've honestly heard many players make predictions about where a circle will go next as the match progresses. I've genuinely heard players say, "Oh, well, the circle's near Tilted Towers, so it's probably gonna go there next." That's their brain making a prediction that they genuinely believe to be accurate with any real logic behind it. The next storm circle is random. It's not gonna go to a named location just because that's currently available. Perhaps more enticing though is how these pesky treasure chests work. These things mirror slot machines so much that it isn't even funny. There's tons of them throughout the map, and each time you go to open one, you get that moment of anticipation. After all, this could be the one to spawn that golden weapon you need, or that big pot to top off your shield. That exciting anticipatory moment is like a seed for behavioral reinforcement. It's such a juicy feeling, not knowing what is coming, but knowing that there is a chance that it could be exactly what you want. And even if it isn't, there's dozens and dozens of other chests for you to hit, all carrying that same little burst of excitement and intrigue. That is a variable ratio schedule. The behavior of you opening a treasure chest is reinforced by that anticipation, and even more so if you're rewarded with an amazing loot drop. It keeps matches exciting, and with so many random elements like this throughout the game, it isn't hard to see how Fortnite can keep you playing for just one more match. Because we all know the next match is definitely going to be the one where we find the perfect loot, the one where we build perfectly, the one where we beat that damn John Wick skin, and of course win the match. The chase is rewarded and reinforced by the gameplay, and that keeps you going. The possibility of what the next match might bring. But of course, there's more to it. One of the biggest motivators humans can tap into is a competitive drive, a desire to pursue excellence and status through winning. One of the biggest emotional rushes you can have while gaming comes from going toe-to-toe with another player or players and being the last one standing. In games like Call of Duty, this may stem from going on a kill streak, but in Fortnite, it comes simply from winning all your fights, including that final one for victory. Chasing that win is arguably as addictive as the instant feedback granted from all the random elements within each match. Think of how tempting it is to finish in the top 5 and queue up again, swearing that next match will be the one you win. Proving to yourself that you can win and win consistently is an amazing feeling, and it's evidence of your growth as a player. This brings us to the skill ceiling of Fortnite. Ideally, multiplayer games ease in new players with simple to understand mechanics while also providing enough depth within those mechanics to allow for player mastery. Fortnite does a great job of this. Aiming and shooting weapons is simple enough, but most of the room for growth actually comes from the very unique building mechanics. Now, you might have expected me to talk more about this in the next section, where I'm going to discuss what elevates Fortnite above the competition, because building is very much a concept exclusive to Fortnite within this genre. However, while it's definitely a distinctive selling point, to me, it all ties back into the skill ceiling concept. Players are permitted to freeform build, including the creation of walls, ramps, roofs, and floors. This allows for a massive amount of variation within player skill. The most talented players realize how important it is to maintain high ground, and the fastest way to claim that is through building. Building structures is easy enough for anyone to understand, but the real pressure comes from being able to do it quickly and consistently, especially when being challenged by other players. It's not uncommon for build wars to break out amongst players, as they both frantically yet efficiently ascend their character in an attempt to gain a vertical advantage on the opponent. Usually, the one who performs best is the one who secures the kill. It takes a lot of time and practice to get better at building, and even then, you still have to secure the final blow using precision shooting. This is what grants Fortnite such an incredible skill ceiling, as players can always improve on their building skills to challenge elite competitors. Of course, as I mentioned at the beginning of this section on skill ceilings, it's also important to make sure new players aren't overwhelmed, so that they can eventually catch up to those experienced veterans. Luckily, Fortnite has a solution for this too. When you're starting off as a new player, it's not uncommon to get placed in a lobby with upwards of 75% AI opponents. At least that's what I read online. These bots are relatively harmless as they walk around, gather resources and a few weapons, shoot and miss shots to alert you of their position, and then get trampled by you. This rewards you intrinsically with the satisfaction of a kill, and extrinsically through the loot that they drop for you. The use of bots allows for new players to be eased into the experience as they learn the mechanics, especially building. And then, as they get better, the number of bots in their lobby becomes less and less. At the same time, the human players within a lobby are all around the same skill level, which also betters their chances of doing well. These factors create a very easy to approach experience despite how complicated things can get as you learn more and more and harness your skills at building. Another important element for any successful multiplayer experience is team play. All of the previously listed elements are only enhanced when you get to experience them alongside friends. You've undoubtedly heard people say that even a shit game is made better if you play it with the right people. Well, imagine how that applies to a good game then. You take something that's already solid and enhance it even further. Fortnite accomplishes this by offering a solo, duos, trios, and squad mode so that you and up to 3 more friends can all play together, conquering the battlefield as a cohesive unit. And as your squad gets better, you come up against better competition, leading to some crazy all-out battles. There really isn't much else to say on this point. It's a simple but important one. Make sure your players can play with their friends. And finally, the last basic element that Fortnite gets right is having a ton of content to grind out to keep players going if chasing the wins isn't enough. Like many other live service titles, Fortnite has a multitude of challenges to accomplish, including dailies, weeklies, seasonals, character-based, and event-based. Not to mention, everything you do in the game grants you experience, which acts as a mini dopamine hit each time. The inclusion of so many ways to earn experience was such a smart decision, as when every match ends, you see so many progress bars update and the overload is just so satisfying. You feel like you accomplished a lot, even if you died early. Going along with that is how big the numbers are. Epic Games didn't hesitate to hand the player thousands and thousands of points at a time, which feels better than small increments, even though the game's battle pass is balanced with this in mind. It just feels better to get 4,000 points towards a 100,000 point goal, rather than 4 points towards a 100 point goal. It's a subtle but effective psychological maneuver. These reward the player with more experience, which levels up their battle pass faster, which incentivizes them to keep checking up on that menu. There's always something to be grinding out in Fortnite for more rewards, and when everything is time sensitive, it really puts the pressure on you to get them before they're gone. So yeah, when it comes to the basics, Fortnite does an exceptional job at creating a foundation. It utilizes a satisfying gameplay loop that is easy for new players to understand, but also one that allows for a high skill ceiling. And there's tons of rewards to grind out whether you play solo or with friends. And it's all just sitting here, waiting to be played for free. It really is incredible how many things this game does right when it comes to the fundamentals. They got enough right at launch to get the game rolling, and have only improved on it as the years have rolled by. But now, let's transition into looking at what has allowed Fortnite to truly ascend the video game world. Fortnite is in a class of its own, breaking into pop culture in a way that most games can only dream of. It joins the likes of Candy Crush, Call of Duty, Minecraft, and other games so large that even non-gamers have heard of them. It's reached these lofty heights by having the aforementioned solid foundation, but also because of 4 unique components that only Fortnite seems to be doing across the genre. So let's take a look at them. The most obvious characteristic that differentiates and propels Fortnite up the charts is the aesthetics and the customization. Fortnite's cartoony art direction is welcoming for players of all ages, whether you're a kid or an adult looking to relive the glory days of Saturday morning cartoons. In a world where so many games attempt to look realistic, especially within this genre, it's so refreshing to play a title that dives headfirst into its art direction, committing to it fully, resulting in a game that always looks crisp and cohesive without having to worry much about the aging process. Going hand in hand with that though is of course the character customization, which remains unparalleled across the industry. In the early days, Fortnite had a few default skins that would be randomly assigned to a player. However, through the Battle Pass and the item shop, players could purchase or earn new skins that could be worn. This was also true of gliders and pickaxes. But as the game evolved, so did the options. Outside of just having new skins, back blings, falling trails, gun wraps, loading screens, emotes, lobby music, and more have been added in for the player to consider. Each of these components can be mixed and matched, allowing for a sense of customization that I can only really compare to the premise of Fashion Souls in the Dark Souls series. You can rock a full synchronized set with your character and their backpack and their falling trail and their glider and their pickaxe, or you can choose different parts from different sets a la carte to make your own unique character. And in the years since, this has only been taken further, with many items now having different looks for you to grind out. How, even in this current season, the Battle Pass includes so many alternate looks for each of the skins you unlock. It's really remarkable. And this is just items that Epic's artists have created themselves. Collaborations are another massive component feeding into Fortnite's successful efforts towards customization. When a game takes off in the extreme manner that Fortnite did, everyone wants a piece. Licensing deals have been a part of this title from the very early days, as John Wick skins used to be the most feared player in any given lobby. But my god, has this gone off the walls. So many characters from other franchises have become playable in Fortnite, such as Captain America, or Luke Skywalker, or NFL players, Rick and Morty, Naruto, Goku, Chun-Li, Batman, and Michonne. This is just a small taste of the number of licensed skins, but it encompasses such a vast number of huge franchises that it's truly astounding. I mean, in what other game can Luke Skywalker and his lightsaber go toe-to-toe with Goku and his Kamehameha? None. It's wild stuff. It's crazy that this even exists. All of this just allows for so much player choice when it comes to building their ideal Fortnite character. Every new skin, glider, backbling, and pickaxe you unlock expands your wardrobe even more, allowing it to rival those of real-life celebrities. Certain skins hold status within the game. Players recognize the grind it took to get some of the more prestigious unlockables. Not to mention, you get your own sense of satisfaction for unlocking some of the more grinded out options, such as the one found in the bonus challenges. Character customization and aesthetic loadout have become such a core component of the game, doing it better than any other multiplayer game out there. Period. Of the four major points of differentiation, this next one is most important. The second major element is the constant freshness of the game, as the Fortnite Island truly feels like its own living and breathing world full of dynamic elements to accompany the chaos created by players battling. Epic Games is constantly tweaking Fortnite, which keeps everything feeling fresh. New changes are only a few days away at nearly all times, and it's amazing. Every Thursday there's a weekly reset that will change things up in a few ways. First, new weekly challenges unlock, giving players new things to grind out for coveted experience points. On top of that, a few minor map changes take place. Some of these are as small as decoration changes, while others will see seasonal elements shifting locations. Here in Chapter 3 Season 4, this involves the fast getaway options that come in the form of a moving hurricane, as well as these blimps that are all across the island. And of course, each weekly reset usually includes the introduction and vaulting of new items and weapons for players to find on the map. For example, during one point this season, the Star Wars content came back for a week, which permitted players to use lightsabers and stormtrooper blasters alongside the usual armaments. It was cool to play around with them again for a week, but they came and went like anything else. This constant switching of parts each week allows for things to feel exciting and new while not altering the satisfying core gameplay. Of course, this goes beyond the weekly changes too. Bigger and more substantial changes come in the form of events and season changes. For example, during Halloween, the Fort Nightmares returned for their yearly appearance. This included zombies taking over the map as they chased around players, doing chip damage and alerting their position to other players in the process. This event also saw the inclusion of a new series of challenges, involving areas on the map that had been altered to reflect the Halloween spirits. Meanwhile, other parts of the map and the overall objective to win remain the same in every single match. it provided even more content to do during downtime when you weren't fighting other players, replacing downtime with activity. It's brilliant. And this is just one example of how Fortnite handles holidays and events such as this. Let's not forget about other outstanding events either, like many of the concerts and movies that have been held in Fortnite's Party Royale mode. Incredible ideas that you won't find anywhere else. And then of course there's the season changes. Every season in Fortnite lasts about 3 months or so. During that time, the living components of the map usually tell a story, which ties directly into how the map changes in the upcoming season. It's sometimes a big event that brings everyone together to experience a cool moment in a living, breathing, and digital world. And if it's not, the changes in chapters will certainly provide. Thinking back to the beginning of Chapter 2, man, that was incredible. We didn't have an idea of what to expect, and then we lived it out as the graphics and map got a complete overhaul, leading to an amazing rush of hype. Just such a cool moment that can only be experienced consistently in Fortnite. The constant freshness that Fortnite utilizes is what really sets this game apart. While other games force their players to wait for long stretches of time for new content, Fortnite presses onward, constantly reiterating on itself, knowing fully well that any misstep can easily be corrected in the upcoming weeks. There's always something new to see and do in Fortnite, and that's what draws back players day in and day out. The next point has to do with how Fortnite empowers its players to play the game in the way they want. Sure, many games have different types of multiplayer modes, like Capture the Flag or Team Deathmatch, but Fortnite seems to take this idea much farther. Epic Games holds nothing sacred, as they seem to be giving players exactly what they are asking for, even at the forsaking of some of their biggest ideas. Take Zero Build Mode for example. After experimenting with removing building a few times, Epic decided to give players a completely separate mode where building and resource collection was disabled. They came to learn that build wars were intimidating for some players, and so they gave them a place to enjoy the game without that option at all. When I heard about this early in the year, I was shocked, since building is such a core component of the experience. But Epic's goal is to keep you playing, and if giving this option keeps you in the game, then so be it. I've actually enjoyed this mode myself a bit, as playing without building allows you to focus more on improving your accuracy with the weapons and using the environment to your advantage. It's really refreshing, and it proves that Epic Games isn't afraid to give players what they want. It doesn't stop there though, as there's many other modes available to check out. There's the Battle Lab, where you can experiment around with the rules, Party Royale, where you can hang out in a safe creative space for live events and races, Team Rumble allows you to partake in big matches of 16 versus 16 if you fancy something a bit more cooperative. There's Arena and competitive modes too, where your skills will be put to the test as you compete against other players around your same skill level. The better you do, the better the competition gets. And at the time of writing, there's also a limited time mode called Big Battle, where you duke it out with a huge team of 40 versus 40. And then of course there's other LTMs, like All Snipers or All Golden Weapons. I'm breezing through these, but many of them are suitable alternate modes to change things up if you need a break from the standard Battle Royale. And Epic has accounted for that and given them all to you for free. Truth be told though, there's even more! The modes I've listed so far are just ones created by Epic Games. There's also the creative mode, where you can play custom game modes created by your fellow players. The possibilities here are endless and offer up a litany of other ways to experience Fortnite and admire what some people are capable of building. There's a tremendous amount of variety to play, and giving people that choice is such a strong building block for this title, especially giving players the tools to build their own modes. That almost ensures the game will live on indefinitely, as some people come up with new ideas and construct new projects. It's just a brilliant way of harmonizing and empowering the community in ways that other battle royales simply aren't doing. So yeah, giving players choice is that third big component of Fortnite's success. It warrants mention though that this goes beyond the different modes of play. One thing that was awesome to see is that players are now given a bit more choice when it comes to unlocking the Battle Pass tiers. In the old days, you earned a new item each time you leveled up, but now level ups reward stars. These stars are an in-game currency that can be used to buy items within the Battle Pass. The cool part is that you don't have to buy them in a set order like you did in Chapter 1. Sure, there are still some restrictions, which can be frustrating, but it's nice to be able to shop around a bit and get your hands on higher worth cosmetic items like pickaxes, skins, gliders, and emotes before getting the garbage like sprays and banners. Fortnite gives players choices in a way that not many other games are doing, and it helps this game endure. And finally, the last point, the most abstract one of all. The final component is the result of the previous things combined, along with the rapid growth of the game at launch. And that would be momentum. Success begets success. Fortnite continues to go forward strongly each and every day, week in and week out, with seemingly no intention of slowing down. And that's honestly a very impressive feat for a game to maintain for over 5 years now. Sometimes, when a game reaches its peak, the developers aren't able to keep up with the success. This can result in making changes that don't jive with the player base, or taking far too long to provide new updates. This can stonewall or destroy a game's player base, making some hyped up or exciting games die before they had to. But that's not the case with Fortnite. Epic has managed to keep their foot on the accelerator and maintain a massive amount of players who are eager to play the game, whether it be an all-day grind session or just a few matches before bed. The ability to grow the game and keep it going successfully without tripping over their own feet is an impressive accomplishment in of itself. So it's these 4 elements that really differentiates Fortnite from many other games within the Battle Royale genre, while also allowing this title to ascend to the massive pop culture icon that it's become. I mean, it's just smart stuff. They provide limitless customization that allows players to build their ideal character and have them clash with other creative and licensed characters. Meanwhile, the game never feels stale, as changes, good or bad, come and go each and every week, some big, some small. Epic also seems to listen to their player base and give them everything they can to keep players content. This is particularly noticeable in how many modes of play are on display. And finally, that momentum. The massive success and spotlight didn't overwhelm the team as they continued to build on the game. By managing to avoid the pitfalls, Epic continues to press on. It's an impressive set of characteristics that have truly made Fortnite the behemoth that it is. But of course, it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. This video wouldn't be a complete analysis if time wasn't taken to explore the darker side of Fortnite. While the game's success can't be denied, it's also important to acknowledge that the success has a price that's paid both by the players and the development team. While Fortnite's maintained momentum, constant updates, and new licensing deals always are exciting for new players, they come with a toll, and it's called crunch. I'm sure we've all heard of crunch at this point, but if you haven't, crunch is a term used in video game development, and it refers to the amount of overtime hours employees are essentially mandated to work leading up to a game's release. Normally, developers crunch in order to hit the game's release date, working as much as 12 to 18 hours a day, or between 70 to 100 hours a week in some extreme cases, just to make those ends meet. However, Fortnite is a living, breathing game that is constantly being updated. There is no set release date. There is no day that Fortnite says, okay, that's it, we're not changing anything else, this is the game for the rest of time. That's not happening. So, because of that, Epic Games is constantly in a state of crunch. In 2019, Epic Games and Fortnite did face a lot of backlash from the media after reports came out that developers at the studio were working extreme hours just to keep the game going. The higher-ups wanted to maintain the game's momentum for as long as possible, and that, paired up with the chaos of an overnight success, led to a lot of mismanagement. With the game seemingly set to print money mode, the executives put their workers to the grind, resulting in cases of employee breakdowns. This led to a toxic work environment that saw some developers leaving outright due to the high stress. Now, it appears Epic Games has gotten better with their crunch, or perhaps that's due to less media coverage on the issue, but it certainly still plays a role. In a game providing substantial updates on a weekly basis, it's nearly impossible to avoid running into this issue. And while it's easy to sit back and enjoy the freshness of the game, it's at least worth keeping in mind that the updates you enjoy have to be planned, conceptualized, programmed, tested, and implemented before you get a chance to enjoy them. And most of the time, that process is going to be stressing someone out. So thank you to all the developers who continue to push this game forward and keep it as strong as it is. Hopefully, your struggles have diminished with time as the game's initial chaotic success gets farther away and better plans for management have materialized. Hopefully. I can't say for sure because I don't work there, but it very well could still be an issue. I just hope things have gotten better. On the other side of the criticisms, we have those that the players endure. While Fortnite remains enjoyable to play, it's quite obvious to anyone looking that the game uses some serious psychological manipulation to keep players hooked. In fact, many of the things I mentioned in outlining the basics and those 4 factors that differentiate Fortnite, yeah, they all kind of fall into this shady category where there's some serious psychological manipulation at work, for real. I mean, many of the most exciting qualities of Fortnite keep you playing, but that's because many of them also tap into behavioral susceptibilities that plague the human race. Between time challenges, an ever-changing item shop, the exciting randomness of each match, and more, it's very easy to see why some people would describe this game as manipulative or addictive. The time pressure of certain in-game challenges and the battle pass itself can see players tuning in daily to earn the easy experience points needed to level up. In a way, it's almost like having a job, as you clock in each day, do your dailies, and then clock back out. If not, you'll lose out on progress, and in a game where everything is designed to reward progression, halting it doesn't feel good. And then you reach that point where it's like, well, maybe if I want these rewards quickly, I could just give Epic a few bucks to unlock them now. Yeah, it's a little bit shady. I mean, you almost feel compelled to maintain your momentum in the same way that the company's bigwigs do for the game overall. To me though, the clearest example of manipulation comes in the form of that ever-rotating item shop. It refreshes once each day, and there's no way for players to predict what will be coming next to the shop. That means if they see an item that they've been coveting, they have a small window of time to get out their credit card and buy it outright. And if they don't, they might not see that same item again for days, weeks, or even months. There's no way to know, and who wants to let an opportunity pass them by? It plays on our fear of missing out. It makes the temptation to buy items palpable, and many players, especially younger audiences, tend to cave. This can have a snowball effect, seeing some players rack up big bills for simple, non-tangible cosmetic items. This problem is further accentuated by the fact that Fortnite is very much a social game, where certain skins do hold status over others. That doesn't mean things are pay to win, but instead that players with more expensive skins are viewed more favorably and also feared more than those without the same accessories. I'd say this problem has diminished solely because of the vast number of skins that are available now, but there was certainly a time when players feared that John Wick skin and that Raptor skin, sometimes avoiding them completely out in the field. Back in the day, it led to those moments where you'd see a rare skin in the shop and felt compelled to buy it, solely for the status and notoriety that it might grant you in a match. And yeah, that's why I've been the proud owner of the Omen skin for years now. And the crazy part is, I knew what they were doing. I could see the manipulation at the time. I was teaching psychology, and yet I sat there and I was like, wow, that Omen skin's cool. Don't want to let that pass me by. Better get out my wallet. And I did it, and now here we are. I have it for 20 bucks. Whoa. Now, despite these patterns, most people aren't going to become addicted to Fortnite in the same way that they would with gambling at a casino, for example. However, not everything is black and white. Some of the same tendencies used at the casino are also used in Fortnite to keep players engaged and hopefully spending their money. And it's clearly worked. Epic Games went from being worth less than $1 billion before Fortnite to being valued at $32 billion in the 5 years since its release. That's a gigantic amount of growth, and you don't draw in that much money without preying on your audience to a degree. So yes, it's important to be aware that Fortnite isn't meant to just be fun. Sure, it can be very entertaining, you can have a lot of fun playing, but it's also designed in ways to nudge you into checking in daily, playing a lot, and getting out your wallet. This is done in subtle ways, and if you aren't careful, it's very easy to fall into the trap, losing a bunch of money along the way in exchange for virtual skins with no real-world value. Epic Games has become such a huge player in the heavyweight world of video games, and they've done it on the money from your wallet and the sweat of the backs off the overworked employees. While we can all still enjoy the game, it's important to be aware of these very real criticisms that can be lobbied at this beast of a title. So we're about done now, and all I can say is that Fortnite Battle Royale will always be a fascinating case study to me, in part because it's the only game I've enjoyed that has had such a meteoric rise, penetrating past the world of gaming and becoming something bigger. I've always shied away from games like Minecraft and Call of Duty because they weren't really my cup of tea. However, Fortnite has been different, and while it's by no means a game that I'm grinding all day every day, season in and season out, it's for sure one I enjoy revisiting from time to time to see what's new. And I think that's how the game is best enjoyed, a little bit at a time. When you don't get caught up in all the time-limited events and items and battle passes, you can enjoy the game for what it is, a very unique battle royale that's full of life and excitement. Every match rewards your anticipation through unpredictability. Who knows where the next storm circle will go, or how your loadout will fare against another player, or if a build battle will break out, or how you might use a vehicle, or if you can maintain your high ground, or what's going to be in that next chest, and so on and so forth. And the constant freshness of the game means who knows what new and exciting questions you'll be asking in a week's, months, or year's time in regards to this title. At the same time, unlimited customization options means you can create your ideal character while enjoying a ton of professionally and fan-made modes of play. While there are some darker issues lying just beneath the surface, there's no denying how much fun can be extrapolated from this title if you're a fan of the Battle Royale genre. Just be careful about it, that's all I'm saying. But regardless of how you may feel about it, Fortnite isn't going anywhere. It's my hope that this video has provided a basic outline for how Fortnite has maintained the success that it has, by analyzing the core design principles and ideologies guiding the team through every major change to the game. It's that basic foundation and those 4 central pillars that have allowed this game to keep going forward so vehemently in the 5 years since its release. It's why Fortnite is not only the king of its genre, but also so well known, even amongst non-gamers. And to me, that's a victory royale. Oh my god, I can't believe I wrote that. That was such a cringy way to end this video, but thanks for watching. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this look at Fortnite Battle Royale. I know this one seems pretty far out of left field, but I just felt passionate about this topic and felt there was room on YouTube for an analysis such as this. Even if you absolutely hate this meme of a game, I hope you were able to take something away from this video, even if it's just a better understanding of the title's guiding principles or the darker undertones fueling its constant updates. It's also a little strange for me to release a video like this at the current time, because this is the biggest time of the year for new releases. But fret not, because reviews of Gotham Knights, God of War Ragnarok, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are on the way. I might also check out High on Life at some point, and of course I will be making a top 10 games of the year video. So if you aren't subscribed, be sure to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing for more, follow me on Twitter at NopeNapNarp, join our Discord, the link is below, and as always guys, have a nice day, and take care.